Number one is raising achievement. Number two is providing a safe learning environment. Number three, efficient and equitable distribution of resources. Four, providing the necessary support. And five, improving public engagement. Now I'll go through each one of those as it relates to this district and also to the entire Pittsburgh Public School District. We realize that we're suffering population loss in the district. People are either moving out of the district or not choosing schools within their feeder pattern for whatever reason, but the population has gone down. When population goes down, our costs per pupil go up because we have fewer children being divided by that pot of money. Reducing cost, that is a challenge to the district. Keeping costs down, right now we're spending somewhere near $20,000 per pupil. We have to bring that number down. It's doing all we can to avoid state takeover. We're the largest urban school district within the state that is not controlled by the state. We haven't raised taxes in the 3 years that I've been on the board, and we haven't increased spending from when I started on the board till now. So with those kind of parameters, as far as the cost, population loss, and the things that we're trying to do for the children, maximizing achievement. We've developed making sure that we have managed instruction in all of our schools. But the main thing is to make sure that it's working in every school. So in Pittsburgh Montessori, and in Fort Pitt, in Peabody, and in the schools in this area, to make sure you talk about managed instruction, but you want to make sure that they're using data to address the needs of students as they go along during the year. You don't wait until the end of the semester or the end of the school year to talk about what concerns there are. You have data and feedback that's going to tell you where that student is or what need that student has and be able to address it at that point in time. So that's managed instruction. And these are commitments that the board has voted on. We developed core beliefs, we have commitments, and they emanated from the goals in those areas. But this is something to get the board to develop a common set of commitments that we're going to hold all of our decision making up against. You don't want to get a situation where it's one district battling another district, because we're here for all 29,000 children. We're here to save lives. So we can't be parochial to the point where I'm doing everything just for District 3 and ignoring what's going on in the rest of the city. So when we have things like maximizing achievement, when we have providing a safe learning environment, that is critical. That is key. It's critical in a city like Pittsburgh where, because of the lay of the land, because of the topography, we are naturally divided. And being a lifelong resident of the city of Pittsburgh, some of the same rivalries that existed when I was a child still exist today. Certain neighborhoods don't get along, certain neighborhoods do get along, certain people don't want to travel to certain parts of the city, folks don't want to cross rivers, we have hills and valleys. So just the sight lines itself, you can't see but so far because of the type of topography. It's good in a sense because there's a richness in having that diversity within the city, all these different communities, but we still, when it comes time to wave the terrible towel, we all come together collectively as all Pittsburghers, and we have to have that same attitude toward our school system. So if we were to, as we did several years ago, reduce the number of facilities that we have because we had to cut costs, excess costs, that if we're combining populations from different parts of the city together in the same building, we have to make sure it's safe, making sure there's no conflicts among them, making sure that there is nothing to impede the learning process. Providing necessary support, making sure that there are coaches in the schools. Now we have coaches in all the schools, making sure that there's adequate textbooks, making sure there's adequate resources. Now, a concern like that might hit Peabody, where there's a music situation, a concern for having enough pupils to have a band, making sure we have enough students to have adequate sports offerings in the school. But our job is to make sure that we provide the backup, that whatever you need, we can provide that to the schools, making sure there's qualified teachers in the schools, making sure there's the necessary resources to pay for the lunches, making sure the lunches are appetizing and that folks can enjoy. Efficient and equitable distribution of resources. This is the equity piece. This is the part that no matter where a decision is made or wherever resources are provided throughout the district, that you have to do it in an efficient manner, which means you're trying to save money, you're trying to provide the best resource you can, and making sure it's equitable. And to me, the term equity talks about those who have the most need get the most attention, making sure that we can level the playing field all across the district for all students. That's equity to me. It doesn't necessarily mean equal per se. It doesn't mean that you have the same numbers, but it makes sure that the need in that particular area is addressed. So there could be a greater need in one school as opposed to another, but in terms of equity, in terms of justice, you address the need of the persons that have the most need with the resources until you eliminate those concerns. In improving public engagement, that's critical. This is an excellent example of how it should be. Meetings such as this, where you're engaging the public, people are coming out, people are being involved in what we do. We need more of that. We need more monitoring, more watching, more looking over our shoulders so that it's not a situation where what's going on in the district. I can only find out what's going on unless the school board member tells me. We should be at the same pace at the same time on the same issues. Then when it comes time to legislate, when it comes time to address those issues, we know where you're coming from, you know where we're coming from, and then we're at the point where we don't have to educate and legislate at the same time. You're aware of the decisions that we make. Engagement goes a long way to boosting achievement for the individual student. The more the parents are involved, or the caregivers, or whoever is involved in that child's life, the more they're engaged in the education process, the better that child will be. When you have somebody that's pushing you along, encouraging you, giving you good praise for what you're doing, achievement goes up. That's critical. So we want parents engaged, we want communities engaged, we want individuals engaged. Whether you're involved in the school system or not, the school system affects everyone in this city. And as far as engagement, I consider myself to be a full-time school director. I retired from federal government work, 25 years working with the federal government, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in 2004. Ran for office in 2005. I say full-time in terms of I'm fully accessible. Whenever you want me, I'll be there. Schedule meetings such as this, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, evening, community involvement days at Peabody, PSCC meetings, whatever it takes. That's my attitude towards being a school board director. I take this serious. We don't get paid for this job, but I take it serious because, to me, this is one of the most important jobs that exist. City council, they pave streets. We pave the way for the future of children. Again, we're in the life-saving business, and that is critical to me. So if you have a pencil and paper, my phone number, 412-687-1819. I live right over in Schenley Heights, across the Bluefield Bridge, up the hill near the water tower. You can knock on my door. Whenever you want me, you can email me, tsumpter1@pghboe.net. I can give you all the information you want, give you cards, whatever. But I'm accessible and willing to participate in any activity such for the betterment of our children, because that's what comes first, our children. One of the things that, or at least the way I look at it, is that there are no problems. There's nothing but opportunities. If a concern were to come up, it presents an opportunity to be addressed. And the thing is to have an open and honest and straightforward objective dialogue to be able to address those concerns. And I come from a background of policy analysis, such that you develop alternatives, you rank the alternatives, you pick the best alternatives, you look at the impacts of those alternatives, you pick the one that you want to go with, but it's a process that you can go through to arrive as such. A A lot of people can come together. We can develop ideas, concerns, get all the input of everybody, look at that, vote on it, rank it, prioritize it, put it in rank order. But that's what I know how to do from my background. But that's the kind of thing that you have to do to not just react with knee-jerk reactions. It's not just, this is going to be the answer. It's making sure that you have opinions. And that's the same thing with school board representatives. I know in 1976, they decided to go to an elected school board. Prior to that, it was an appointed board. But that, to me, means that people from certain parts of the city felt that they were left out of the process, felt that they weren't being represented at the board. So to ensure that, you make sure that you have representatives from all over the city. To me, that does not mean that they only represent the district they come from, but they bring the flavor from that district and concerns of that district to the administration. We collectively, as 9 individuals, have to work together to arrive at common decisions. But it's for the benefit of all the students. Whether it's in District 3 or outside of District 3, I consider all 29,000 my children that I have to look out for and make it so that they benefit, not just the ones in District 3. But because I am a representative from District 3, I can hear or pay closer attention to the concerns in District 3. But again, I say that to say that we are a board of directors. We're not like city council where they are representatives of their district or state representatives or such that represent their district. We are to set the policy for the entire district. So that's why when I talked about the different areas of achievement, of safety, of support, of efficient and equitable distribution of resources, and improving public engagement. Those are the areas of concern that we have to look at, and those are the areas of concern that make up all of the activities that go on within the district. So it takes away from, I'm only going to cut deals with certain school board members to do things for my district or your district, and we're going to quid pro quo, trade off and things like that. This makes it so that it's a good decision-making process for the whole district. And this is an effort that we've been embarked on to improve the governance of the board. One thing is to improve the education in the district, the things you do as far as textbooks, curriculum, and that's what we've done. We've aligned the curriculum to the state standards. We've aligned the curriculum horizontally throughout the district, making sure it's consistent. We've negotiated labor contracts. We've introduced different models of education within just the last 3 years. I mean, it's been rather a short period. But the things that go on within the school system take time. You have to be patient. You can't expect overnight changes to rapidly occur. Some things you can address quickly, but some things that you put in place take time to grow and come to fruition. So when you put in a new curriculum, you have to be able to write the curriculum, implement the curriculum, training, professional development. That's another area that we've increased tremendously throughout the district as far as the professional development. Because of the new curriculum, because of the changes, we're training teachers. So we have coaches in the schools, we have managed instruction, we have aligned a new curriculum, we have professional development to support that. That's all the education piece. The board itself can get its own act together as far as how we govern and not be fussing and fighting with each other, but working collectively for the benefit of all the students. Thank you very much.